Thank you for joining us. My name is Greg Dorman and you're watching Rally Notes. My second guest tonight has been involved with rally racing for the last couple of years. He has his own radio show called Tech House and Speed. With me via Skype is Bill Wood. Welcome to the show, Bill. Bill, can you hear me?
Thanks, Greg. A couple of years. I've probably been in. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're probably getting a little bit delay.
Yeah, well, I am. I've been involved in this for, I don't know, since 1973 in one form or another, and it's been pretty cool.
Well, let's talk about this year's championship. Right now, we are after two events, Snowdrift Rally and Hardenacre Wood Rally. The person who is leading the rally, Travis Hansen and Terry Hansen, his co-driver, his dad and his co-driver, did not make the spectator guide for Olympus, but they're leading championship and they're going to be at Olympus, fighting for their best position there. What do you think about their progression this year? Travis's progression this year. I mean, he's leading the championship. He's got big names behind him, and he's running super production car in the championship.
He had a chance at the very beginning to win with the super production cars, a history-making win. And it's a very enormous thing for him to be able to do this. And I'm sorry, but what's important about all of this is that he's doing it with just wits. He's an excellent driver, and he's proving it. And it's important for rallying that he does well, because he is proving that you could go out without factory support and do well.
I absolutely agree. He's got, like I said, he's got big names behind him that have factory backup, just like Dave Mira and Marshall Clark running the Subaru Rally Team USA Subaru. They are just 3 points behind, and they podiumed at both events, Snowdrift Rally and Hardenacre Rally. I think they've progressed a lot for the last couple of years as well.
Dave has progressed enormously. He got his first podium at Olympus last year, so this is very important for him. And both Travis and Dave being 1-2 in the championship, it's very important that people see that you don't need to be a factory-supported driver in order to do well. And as long as you can get to the events and do well, that you're going to be able to have an impact on what's happening.
Two big names behind them, Antoine Lastage, current Rally America champion and also Canadian Rally champion. He's got the Triple Crown, the North America, Canada and US. And the big name in US Rally this year, David Higgins, UK champion, US champion in 2002. Those names are third and fourth. They got already a couple points behind. Antoine Lastage has 23 points. It's 8 points behind Dave Mira. And David Higgins has only 18 points, and that's 5 points behind Antoine. I mean, do you think these guys are going to be still fighting in the championship? Obviously, they're very fast drivers, but the mistake that Antoine did at Snowdrift Rally, I think, I was very surprised to see Antoine go off at Snowdrift like he did.
It was a surprise. Antoine doesn't make mistakes, but the best part about all of this is the rivalry between the two of them. David Higgins would like to do well. He's being paid by Subaru to come from the Wales to compete in this series. He's an instructor. He's an instructor for David, his teammate. So it's important that he does well, but the rivalry between the two of them is incredibly intense. and they can smile and laugh about it, but Antoine wants to know that he fits into the national picture and maybe the world picture, and David Higgins needs to know that he could fit into the North American picture. What I love about this is that people have come here for years and years and years at whatever level, from Stig Blomqvist, the former world champion, or David Higgins, the national champion, but they've come and they haven't been able to do well, and they go back and say, these Americans, I don't know if I could beat them or not. And that's the best news of all, is that our rallying in North America and Canada has grown so much that we could stand our own.
Well, also the steady driving can get you far. Fifth in the championship in the overall classification is Roman Pakas and Maciej Sawicki. They have 18 points, the same points amount of David Higgins. And they are also sitting behind Travis Hansen in the second place in the super production. I think this is the team that kind of went into my place and Peter Viktorczyk place that we were taking on for 2009 and 2010, beginning of 2010.
Roman Pakos is running an incredible series in the first two events. He has been largely ignored. People don't pay that much attention to him because they've been paying so much attention to Ramana, your first guest, and some other super production guys. The Travis Hansen in particular, Dave Mira, who used to run super production and now he's in the open class. But Roman Pakos has really stepped up his game this year, and I love to see that. I love to see guys get fast. I love what you and Evan were doing at the beginning of the snowdrift, and they've been able to move up to the big time, and people need to pay more attention to this, including me as a journalist. We need to look at what they're doing and give them some props for that.
Yeah, we'll get to Evan and myself during, we're going to be talking about the super production. Third in super production is Laflin Sullivan and Scott Putnam. They actually run in the car that Ramana ran last year, and me and Peter Viktorczyk ran for 2 years before that. They are doing well, but also some mistakes at Snowdrift and Hunter Raker probably pushed them down a little bit. They are behind Roman Pakas and Maciej Sawicki 2 points and sitting third in super production.
Lachlan is an enormously talented driver. He worked with the Mitsubishi factory team in the early 2000s. And the best part about Lachlan is that he's a likable guy, loves the same kind of music that I do, loves Afro-Caribbean music, Brazilian music, capoeira. He loves to go to Latin America, dance around as a businessman in the Bay Area. And this is the other thing that he's doing that is very important for the series. He's bringing in a new sponsor that hasn't been there before. And Lucas Oil on the side of his car is very important that he do well to bring in some more support from Lucas Oil and bring that additional sponsorship to the series, as a sponsorship beyond a tire company or a manufacturer. So Lachlan is very important that he do well. And if anybody can, Lachlan has won championships in two-wheel, and he's been an X Games athlete, and now he's starting to do well in the all-wheel drive category. It's very new for him after championships in two-wheel drive, so the all-wheel drive is very important.
Well, talking about dancing, there's a guy in the championship in super production class that danced in the car at the first ever global rallycross event at Irvingdale Speedway. Jim McKinney, he crashed his super production car at the Irvingdale Speedway. You were there, you probably saw the crash. I don't think Jimmy's coming back this year, do you?
No, I talked to him at some length on Saturday, and he was pretty sore with all that went on inside the car. He gave me a lot of insight about what he felt and how he tried to protect himself, and the bumping around the accordion. He told me that the car had been an accordion many inches when it hit the second time and just fell right on the tail of the car. That's his only car. He may be back. That car is gone, but he was able to get some more parts from that car, and he's got a new chassis. He made a deal with a guy from Texas who had a tub at his farm. He was supposed to be able to get that car to Jimmy in Colorado, and it's possible, maybe not Olympus, but he should be at Oregon Trail with this new tub and the old parts.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I would like to see Jimmy back in the championship. Well, going to myself and Evan, I think we're the not, I wouldn't say the slowest car in the championship in the super production class, but we are definitely, the underdog of the class. We are the only car that's still running the WRX engine and still running the stock brakes on the WRX and putting, you have to say, pretty good times on the stages above rallies that we did so far this year.
You've been too kind too modest, I should say. You've been far too modest to yourself. You and Evan were running in the top 5 to 7 at Snowdrift when you had a little car problem. Evan is a very fast driver, and it's not a coincidence that whoever you co-drive for does well. I don't think anybody gives enough credit to co-drivers, but whenever a co-driver drives with the guy and they always do well when they're in the car, the co-driver has had a large impact on what's happening. So you've done, for all those who are watching, this guy's being too modest. He's an excellent co-driver, and his drivers always do well. That's one way of telling how good the guy is.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Bill. Going to two-wheel drive class, last week we had Dylan Van Wey and Jake Blattner on the show. They are running the Ford Fiesta, the 2011 Ford Fiesta in the Rally America Championship. 36 points. The Wyatt Knox is sitting right behind him with 34 points. Do you think Jake and Dylan and Jake are going to be able to hold up Wyatt and Oli at Olympus? I mean, that Mazda that Wyatt and Oli are using is pretty powerful. Definitely a lot more power than Ford Fiesta of Dylan Van Wey and Jake Blattner.
It's a lot more powerful, but it's also a lot heavier. And anything in motorsports is about momentum, and momentum is a factor of horsepower and weight. So it should be, Wyatt is a very fast driver. He's an instructor at the Team O'Neill Rally School, just like Travis Hansen is, who's leading super production and the overall. But Dylan Van Wey he didn't win a championship by accident. He's a very fast driver, and the car that he has this year, for a change, is very well prepared. They're adding a turbo to that car for Olympus. He's getting a lot of attention and some support from Ford. I wish that the car could be an R2, that they've been trying to bring people into the program, the Ford Fiesta R2 program, but adding the turbo is going to take it out of that mix. The car is very fast. Wyatt is very good. This is another one of the rivalries that people should be watching for, and it's just the saddest part of two-wheel drive right now is Chris Duplessis, who is probably the fastest of all three, but he, for some reason, I've heard all sorts of stories all over the place, but he is another instructor at Team O'Neill, and he is not going to be with the Scion that he had. He could even get back into his Volkswagen Golf that he was driving for a while last year, won the championship with last year. I wish he could be back out there. That would be another great class to watch, the close competition between Dylan Van Wey, Wyatt Knox, and Chris Duplessis.
Well, let's not forget about another Chris, Captain Chris Greenhouse. and his co-drivers. I mean, you know, at 100 Acrewood, he used Brian Johnson as a co-driver. He's been using Dodge Neon. He's been progressing through the years that he's been racing, rally racing in the usual regional championships. So far, he is sitting in third in the championship, two-wheel drive championship this year. Only just a couple points, 3 points behind Wyatt. So, you know, hopefully maybe Chris will show up at one or maybe both events on the West Coast and show them to how it's done in the Neon.
Chris is very fast, is used to going fast. He's an airline pilot for Spirit Air, I believe. So he knows how to fly both at 30,000 feet and maybe 30 feet or 3 feet off the ground in a rally car. The best part about that car is that the old bodies had to replace some old panels, and what he used for some of the donor panels were pink. And it's a couple of co-drivers said they wouldn't get into the car with him if the panels remained pink. So he painted the car yellow, and but when you open the door, you can see the pink door jambs. So it's an interesting story. But yes, Chris is very fast, and I didn't mean to ignore him, but he should do well in the series.
Thank you for joining me, Bill. Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you. I hope you join me after Olympus. We'll talk about what happened there, and you know, I hope to see you there. And you know, we'll see how the championship will turn out. You know, we're gonna be halfway there at Olympus, after Olympus, and we'll see if we can actually point out who could be the 2011 Rally America champion.
It's good to talk to you, Greg. Olympus is one of my great events going back to the 70s when I used to go up there in the Weyerhaeuser Forest and run against the cliffs and so forth. Just a quick aside, I was up there once in the 80s with the helicopter, and John Buffum would come out of the clear cut, and the helicopter would try to follow him along a cliff, and Buffum in his Audi outran the helicopter, and the pilot was trying to catch him, and I finally had to reach over and say, "You're not going to catch him. Go back and get the next car." That's how fast rally cars are.
Yeah, those stages at Olympus are awesome, and you know, I'm looking forward to doing them. I hope you know, me and Evan are going to be there, and then we're going to be able to put some good times. Again, thank you for joining me on the show tonight, and I hope you'll join me next time soon. And you know, finishing the rally notes for this week, I just want to give you a quick rundown of what we have in works for you. We just started a new project, Ford Fiesta project, start shooting that project last Friday. Will Petrov, who was on my show just a couple of weeks ago, he picked up the car that he's going to build, the Ford Fiesta R2, just last Friday. Rally Notes on the Go crew was on the spot. We got the footage from there, so we're gonna bring you the story of the whole car built through Rally Notes and through sports.com. And there's also a couple of tests that we have coming up, Mini Countryman All 4S, and you know, there's gonna be more stories on Rally New York that was just ran 2 weeks ago. Thank you for joining me on sports.com this week on Rally Notes, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Good night.